In project rendering features. So, it's time to talk about what an in-project render is and how it works. Let's start with a historical review. Previously, when there were still weak systems, 32-bit processors, they couldn't perform a lot of things. We had to render all the time because at times these systems couldn't even play the video compressed by codec H264. As soon as some small effect was applied, we had to render. Also, we had to create a bunch of unnecessary files just to see what a particular effect looks like. Times have changed since then, but Premiere has retained many of the old algorithms and functions. It should be said about the video that lies outside the red and yellow bars on the top of the timeline panel. Now I will show you what it looks like. For example, we take a clip from a double identity folder and create a sequence of the same size for this clip. It means that the sequence of a small size contains the editing mode, exactly matches the internal codec of this video. There are no effects, speed changes, etc. on it. Therefore, in principle, the editing program should play it without any problems. If we use more complex codec and more complex compressed effects that we apply to the video, then we will have a yellow bar above the video. It means that something is diverging, but you can play it. As for the red bar, when we applied any effects, it will definitely be calculated. It used to be that way. Now these concepts are so mixed up that Premiere is not sure whether to calculate this or that clip or not. Let's play the clips. One of them still has the effects of slowness. Premiere played it without errors because we have an indicator, which shows that nothing dropped. So this indicator lights up in green. If the indicator doesn't turn yellow, it means that everything is fine. Although we have a red bar above the video and logically it needs to be calculated. Now it all depends on your feelings. If it starts to lag and drop, then you need to calculate. Sometimes it can play the video even under the yellow bar, because its video card thinks it can play yellow. But in fact the indicator lights up yellow, and there is a need for a calculation. How to calculate the video? When we press enter, it will calculate everything that is highlighted in red. Even if it can't play the yellow videos in real time, but indicates it in yellow, then by default it won't calculate it. What happens after the calculation? To do it, we go to the folder where our project is located. We can use Real Project in Explorer, and the video previews folder appears next to it. Inside this folder, we can find preview files in the format in which we created the sequence. Now, what if we need to calculate the video under the yellow bar? It is very simple. In the Sequence tab, we have the render effects into alt function that can be called using the enter key. That is, in places where we will have effects, it will highlight them in red and will be able to calculate. Also, we have the render into alt option that will calculate everything, both red and yellow, except transparent. But for all the other clips, it will create its own MOV files for each clip separately. Sometimes it happens that we turned on the video card and it calculated us a fragment incorrectly. It calculated the effect, and we see that it didn't calculate this effect as it should have been. In this case, we can go to the File, Project Settings, General tab and change the render. For example, we remove CUDA, set software only, and recalculate this fragment again. To do it, we need to remove these renders. This is also done very simply. We set markers in and out on the area where we want to remove the renders. Next, we go to the sequence, delete render files, in to out. We can delete everything, but we only need one piece that we want to calculate. As a result, it deletes everything that was between markers in and out, because it doesn't store renders frame by frame, but clip by clip. It also has its own additional pros and cons. The minus is that it's now completely removed, and the plus is the following. We have deleted the render. We can remove markers in and out and calculate this piece again with a different engine if the previous result doesn't suit us. What else is good about the render engine in Premiere? No editing program works in the same way as Adobe Premiere. The good thing about it is that we change the parameter, for example frame size, to 7. The renders don't fit and it will delete them. But if we return a parameter, the renders will be returned. That is, if I change my mind and return the original setting, then it will put the render that was before. And in another editing program, if we change the parameter, the file render will disappear and can't be restored. Here it can contain several renders in a single clip. For example, we have a render with frame size 5. Let's change this parameter from 5 to 7, and then we change it again from 7 to 10. So, we have got 3 render options. If we want to return the settings, then our render parameters will be preserved. All 3 versions of a single clip continue to be stored until the project is finished, or until you delete them yourself. It's very convenient. Of course, it increases the number of files to calculate, but suddenly you want to change the setting and avoid subsequent rendering. This is a big plus. What else can be noted here? Why do I store renders in good quality and mostly in a QuickTime container? There is another feature of how they can be used. For example, we export our final render. If we have calculated the project internally, we don't need to calculate the entire project again. We can enable the Use Previous checkbox. So it will just take these files that we have made before and will assemble the finished clip from them in the format we need. There is an additional advantage. We have an internal codec, it's MOV GoPro Cineform, and an export clip, it's MOV GoPro Cineform. If everything matches, the codecs are the same. Then it won't recalculate anything at all. If we have calculated everything in the project, it will simply assemble all the renders in one container and throw them into the final file. When you edit a small edit on the project, it will calculate only this piece, copy the rest and output it. This is very useful in situations where, for example, you edit a TV show for 40 minutes. It will be rendered in its pure form for an hour and a half. And if you have calculated everything inside the project and worked in parts, then you can put the clip on the render by enabling the Use Previous checkbox. The rendering will take a minimum amount of time, it's about 10 minutes. This is the resaving in critical situations. So, not knowing about it is a crime.